Hello, sixth grade students, and welcome to Lesson 2. Lesson 2 is entitled Tints and Shades Fall Zentangle. In this lesson, you are going to be learning all about value. This is actually kicking off our series on value. Our next few lessons are going to be focusing on value. In this lesson, you are learning how to create value using paint. Value is one of the 7 elements of art, and some would say it's the most important element of art. By learning how to create value, which is the lightness and darkness of a color, and being able to create that gradual transition from either light to dark or dark to light, you can make your artworks look more realistic and more three-dimensional. So in this lesson, you're going to be focusing on value. The other objectives are learning how to mix tints and shades, also learning how to apply paint evenly in a nice, smooth, solid direction. And lastly, we are going to be learning about Zentangle patterns and how to apply them and be creative with our patterns. So those are the objectives of the lesson. Be sure to check out the Google slide under Lesson 2 for step-by-step instructions, all the terms that you will need to know for this lesson, pictures of examples, and the grading criteria so you know what I'm looking for when grading this project. Also be sure to check out all these videos. They're really going to help you with the process. As always, I am here though for you to contact me at school. Please email or call if you have any questions at all. You can contact me also through our 6th grade Google Classroom with any questions you may have. Under the assignment, you'll find out the due date, the materials that you need. So please let me know. This assignment does require quite a few materials. You will need tempera paint. You'll need a thicker piece of paper. Also, there's a couple of attachments because you're going to have the opportunity to either do a pumpkin or an acorn or a leaf. So you can print off these templates from the Google Classroom under Lesson 2. Or if you don't have a printer at home, please contact me. You're more than welcome to come to school and pick up any materials that you don't have access to. If you need a paintbrush or paint to take home, we can make that possible for you. So please make sure that you're staying on top of the assignments and if you need any materials at all. So follow along. The first step in this project is we are just going to be practicing mixing our paint on our value scale worksheet. We're also going to be practicing mixing tints and shades on the flower worksheet. So it's just a couple practice steps before we actually dive in to painting our actual artwork. You can find these handouts, these worksheets also under Lesson 2 under materials. So be sure to check that out. All right, here we go. Follow along. I hope you enjoy learning all about value and mixing tints and shades. And again, don't hesitate to contact me if you have any questions at all. All right, here we go. All right, 6th grade, Lesson 2, Step 1. You need to print off the value worksheet. It is posted under Lesson 2 assignment. Under the assignment, you'll see 3 additional attachments. One is this worksheet, which is what you're going to be practicing with first. On this worksheet, you'll need to print it out. If you don't have access to printing it out, please contact me here at school so we can work on getting you the handouts that you need to complete this assignment. We are only working on value scale number 1 on this worksheet. We're going to be keeping this because, like I said, we're kicking off our unit on value, and so we'll complete the rest of this worksheet, the shading with pencil, line, cross-hatching, and scribbling. We'll be doing that in other following lessons. So we're going to be working on value for the next couple months, really. But just in Lesson 2, we're working on creating value with paint. So we are only finishing and completing this first value scale on this worksheet. After you do that, though, keep this because we are going to complete the rest of it in later lessons. Does that make sense? Okay. So in order to do this, we're only going to be using black and white because we're creating just a black and white value scale. So you're going to need some tempera paint. You can purchase this at Walmart or any craft store. You're going to need black. You're going to need white. A paper plate because you're just going to put a small dollop. This is just a really small value scale. So you just need a little dot of each color to get you started. Actually, to complete this section on your worksheet, I can get my white to come out. I can't right now, but I'll get that in a minute. So you're just gonna need another little dot of white. You'll need a relatively small paintbrush because we're just painting in these little squares on the worksheet, a paper towel, and some sort of cup to hold some water. All right, follow along as we learn how to mix tints and shades and create a value scale just using black and white. All right, here's the worksheet. Again, you can find that in your Google Classroom under Lesson 2 assignment. You're gonna wanna print that off or contact me on how to get one. You're only painting that top value scale that says value using paint. All right, so we're just using black and white for this value scale. Black is really strong and powerful, and white is really weak. So when creating tints and shades, we always start with our tints, which is our lightest value first, and you're going to always add your stronger color to your weaker color to create your lightest value. So I'm taking a teeny tiny little bit of black and I'm adding it to white because white is weak. If you add too much black, it's like you can always make your value darker, but you can't go back and make it lighter. It's very, very difficult. So a little bit of black mixed in white. You want to mix that thoroughly. And then you're going to paint your block 1. So again, we're working from light to dark. Always when creating value with paint, we start with our lightest value first and gradually move to dark. Now, believe it or not, when we learn how to create value with pencil, it's the opposite. We go dark to light. But when creating value with paint, always light to dark. So box number 1 is our lightest value. And then we're going to move on to box number 2. For box number 2, you do not need to wash your brush in between. All you're going to do is just dip your paintbrush into the black and get another little dot and mix it thoroughly into your previous palette. So we're not making a bunch of little different colored areas on our paper plate. You're just constantly mixing to that same blob of white with your first tint and then your second tint. You're going to add more to create your third tint, and it's going to gradually get darker and darker and darker. When painting your square on your value scale, you always outline first. That helps keep your paint in control within the box. So outline the square, then fill it in. You hold your paintbrush like you're holding a pencil. If you're not very familiar, you haven't had much experience painting before, you hold it like a pencil to get the most control. You don't want to hold it at the end. You won't have very much control. So you're holding your paintbrush like a pencil. And now I'm moving on to block 4. And I've just grabbed another little dot of black and I've added it to my previous tint. That way I know that it's darker. If you test it out and you're like, oh, I can't really see a difference, you can see here I had to grab a little bit more black so I could really see a difference between the two values. Make sure you're always mixing it thoroughly. You don't want to have more than one value within the box. Within box number 4, it should all be the same tint. It shouldn't be I shouldn't see multiple values within that box. And if you haven't mixed your paint thoroughly, it could be streaky and you could have different values. So make sure that you're mixing it thoroughly, stir until you don't see any other streaks, and it's mixed really well so you can have a nice, solid, consistent value within each box. So again, I felt like that needed to be a smidge darker so I could tell a difference between box number 4, box number 4 and box number 5. So you're painting all the way to box number 6. Box number 6 does not need to be pure black. We're trying to create that gradual transition. So really gradual, slow transition from light to dark. We don't want huge jumps from a light color to a dark color. We're trying to learn how to create all those variations of gray. All right, once you have completed filling in all 6 boxes with different shades, tints and shades, a gradual transition from light to dark, you're going to set that worksheet aside and let it dry. Be sure to hold on to that worksheet. If you have a folder for art, place it in there once it's dry, because we're going to continue to work on this worksheet in following lessons down the road where we learn how to create value using pencil.